This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Paul Smith Jr. over Zoom. Paul, I imagine you're in much warmer climates than what I am. How's Dubai treating you?
Yeah, it's nice. It's all right. I've been in a few times now for the fights and that, and it's a good place. I hadn't been until about 2 years ago, 18 months ago or something. But yeah, I like it. It's good.
Obviously, out there, you mentioned fights. Jazza Dickens defending that IBO title of his. Just talking about that main event there, what are you expecting from Jazza?
Um, Probably a bit more of the usual. I like the lad. He's a lovely lad. He's from where we're from. He's a scouser. He's a consummate pro, and that's something that people should always keep in mind with him. He works like diligently, and he's based over in Dublin now with Peter Taylor. He's working well, and he looked a little bit worse for wear today on the way in. I think he struggled a little bit today, but we're all getting on. He's not a spring chicken anymore, obviously, so it's understandable. But I think he'll have enough. I think he'll have enough to see him over the line against Sosa. So it'll be a good fight, and one I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Obviously, the IBO title's always been one which has had his credibility questioned. Obviously, more recently, we've seen a few people pick it up, and it's somewhat of a bargaining chip. You look towards the future, if Jazza comes away, retains his title, he's mentioned the Josh Warrington fights, the Lee Woods. Do you think that he'll be any closer to maybe securing one of those?
Um, I interviewed him yesterday in a press conference and was asking him that question, and obviously he's not looking past Saturday, but for me, I don't mean any disrespect to anyone who holds it or who's held it. There's been some unbelievable names that have held the belt, but it's not a world title. And it's like what the WBU used to be. It's like what all the other belts used to be. And it's unfortunate. We have enough world titles in boxing. We have enough sanctioning bodies in boxing. I've got nothing against the IBO as such, but for me, I see fighters and very, very good fighters, genuine fighters, legitimate, undisputed champions, and carrying the IBO belt with them as if you've got the big four there and the Ring Magazine belt, and you're carrying the IBO belt, which is relatively meaningless. And I saw something on Chris Eubank Sr. saying, like along the lines of sort of force the belt upon the public and they'll accept it. That's not the case. It's not going to work that way. But it's a title. It's a title that a lot of people around the world, a lot of fighters around the world will want to fight for because they just will. But for me, I don't think it's a genuine world title. I'd rather obviously see these type of fighters just have a good 10 or 12 round fight against another top contender. You don't really need to trinket on the line for it as such. If one of the big ones are tied up, good fights are good fights. People are going to watch them regardless. So belt aside, I think tomorrow should be a good fight, and that belt, it depends on one of the other champions whether they value that belt at all, but they're going to look at it as we're world champions. We're not going to, we're bringing everything to the table, not yourself. So I'd like to see Jazza get an opportunity and try and fight and win a genuine world title. As I say, he's worked hard. He's certainly paid his dues in his career, and he deserves an opportunity.
Paul, just bringing you back to the UK scene. Finally, formally, officially, your brother Liam has a fight announced. He's got that Chris Eubank Jr. rematch over the line. I know you guys were always confident he was always going to be announced, but yeah, somewhat of a sigh of relief now. Liam has something to concentrate on, I imagine.
Yeah, he's known it was going to be happening, I think, deep down for a long time, but also it's that frustrating thing when you're a fighter, and part of being a fighter obviously is, when you're training for a possible fight or a possible date, it's a bit different to training for a confirmed date with a confirmed opponent. Liam's got that now. Obviously, he knows what he's got to do. He's been there and done it before with Eubank Jr. and I'm fully confident in him doing the same again. His injury's cleared up now. He's nursed his way through it. He's okay now, and he's good to go.
Bro, Junior's career, he's always kind of been looked at someone maybe with a sense of arrogance around him. After the defeat to Liam in the first fight, some people maybe felt that he might change his approach, but it doesn't seem to be the case. He seems to very much be on the front aggressive with his comments, confident that he can not only turn it around, but try and show that he was just somewhat of a lucky combination, shall we say, that got him out of there in the first fight.
Yeah, and I'm still sort of seeing the aftermath of all that from the general public who don't really understand boxing as such, and they're arguing and still fighting the case for him because he's so vocal like that. Junior's never going to change what type of person he is. I've met him a few times. I've obviously, my brother's fought him. I've sparred with him. He's been in the same gym as us for a week. He's been, we've been around fight week with him. Liam's the one who was fighting, and I've got no problem with that. Lad myself. I don't even think Liam has, to be fair. I'm not saying that, but he is the type of person he is, and that's how he is as a person. I always assumed it would be an act for the cameras, or it would be sort of put on. But as I said time and time again, I'm probably not his cup of tea, and he's not my cup of tea. And the same goes with Liam, and I'm probably people like me and people like him. That's. I don't think people like me would ever get on with people like him, or we probably clash and vice versa. But he is who he is. He deals with his life and his career how he is. But don't take it all as negative, because the kid's made millions from it. So you've got to raise your, tip your hat to him and give him credit where credit's due. The kid's made plenty of money in boxing. He might not have had the achievements or winning a world title as such, but he's made a lot of money, and he's been in some big fights, big events. He's a name in his own right now through his dad, obviously at the start, but he's taken that and carrying on. Again, it's what you like. He can retire at the end of his career and have millions and be wealthy and have plenty and be well off, and he had a good career, obviously. But with regards to achievements in boxing, he hasn't won that world title, which he craved so much, in my opinion. And whether he'll be happy with that deep down, only he will know. But I don't think he'll be too bothered, as I say, when he's waking up in the house he's waking up in and the life he's got, because the ultimate dream is a world title, but ultimately it's a job, and if you can make as much money as you can after your job and your career, then that's a massive success also. So he's had a successful career, but the arrogance, what's been out of him recently, I have to say, a bit of deludedness while I keep hearing him. But listen, he's got to convince himself. He's got to tell himself time and time again, that was a fluke. That wasn't me in there. That didn't happen the way it happened. It was a lucky punch, an elbow. I was weight drained. It was this, that. He's got to find whatever excuse he can find to get him, to get him asleep at night and to get him through the sessions in the gym now. But he's going to have to work very, very hard to beat Liam. And we were saying that before the fight. I was certainly saying it before the fight. To beat Liam, he's going to have to be really on his game. And I keep seeing again, I had a little to and fro on Twitter last night with a few people saying like he performed badly against Liam. And I didn't see it, Charlie. I don't think he did perform badly. And I've asked them to say, like, well, against what performance do you think he performed badly? When was the last time that you've seen him look exceptional? That's how he fights. That's him. He didn't perform badly. He performed like himself. Liam won that fight. He didn't lose that fight. It wasn't the case of Eubank being bad. Liam was good. Liam beat him. Liam had his number. Liam was the better fighter. Said time and time again, Liam's the former world champion. Liam's the one who's been in with the likes of Canelo and Munguia. And Eubank hadn't done what Liam's done yet. The right man won. The people weren't too happy the fact that Liam won, who were backing Eubank and obviously are looking for excuses and clutching at straws, whereas he just took it on the chin, to be fair to him, and said that the better man won on the night. If you beat me again, you definitely are the better man. So it's all part and parcel of it, isn't it? That's the game. That's the build-up. That's how it's going to go. And long may it continue, to be honest with you. As long as the lads are involved in big fights like that, then great.
Paul, heading into the first fight, Liam was adamant that he could hurt Junior to the head. All the talk was about the body work beforehand. Obviously, we saw how the fight ended, and Liam was proven right to many. With that in mind, how does he approach the second fight? Is it very much similar tactics? Does he do anything different? Do you expect anything different from Junior?
I think something's got to be different from Junior. But I said this before the first fight, and there'll be interviews out there. I did enough for them on it. I said before the first fight, I don't believe Eubank has 12 rounds and I'm at a pace. I'm still standing by that now. So as a result, he's going to have to box. He's going to have to try and stand off Liam and box, because he can't engage and fight from belt to belt for 12 rounds. Not many can, to be fair. And even the fittest fighters in the world, they won't do it belt to belt for 3 minutes. They've got to steal rests here and there. You've got to pinch your rest when you can. But to beat Liam, Eubank's going to have to come at him and maintain a pace, try and hurt him, outwork him. And to do that, he's going to have to be fit enough to do the 12 rounds at a pace. And if you don't go there in the gym, you're not going to go there in a fight. I say that often. I say it time and time again. Unless you're sparring hard for 12 rounds and you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone in the gym, you can't do it a fight night. It's impossible. So he had to box. And when he stands up and boxes, he's not a good boxer compared to mostly the people who are at his level. He's a good fighter. He's very good if you let him put his head on your chest and he has his own way. Then he's very good at that. That's where he's got to. That's why he's got to where he's got to. Sorry. Boxing ability wise, he didn't have that amateur pedigree. Liam was a top amateur, won the ABA's box for England. We all did. Obviously, he did it as a junior and then as a senior and then turned pro. Eubank didn't have that, and it shows for me in his performances. And I don't want to sound like I'm slagging him off too much, but boxing wise, he's not the best of boxers on the back foot. But going forward and attacking, he's very good. But you can't do that for 12 rounds, especially against someone like Liam, because he'll go with you and he'll happily oblige. So you have to stand off and box. And when you stand off, Liam will pick you apart. Liam will grind you down and weigh you down. Again, I thought Eubank had a good third round. He started exerting himself a little bit more. He put a bit more effort into it. But at what cost was it? Because in my opinion, he then probably tried to take the fourth off and then got caught by Liam. And you can't do that at that level, at that level of fighting. You're in with a former world champion who's a world-class operator, and you can't afford to take little rounds off here and there when you're going to be made to pay for it. So, long story short, and the long-winded answer, no, I think he's gonna have to try and box, but to beat Liam, he's gonna have to do something very, very different.
Paul, it could prove to be a very joyous couple of weeks for the Smith family, because obviously a couple of weeks before that, you see Callum attempt to become the unified light heavyweight champion of the world when he challenges Artur Beterbiev out in Canada. How's Callum's preparations looking?
He looks good. I saw a little clip of him today. Obviously, I'm over here. I saw a little clip of him on a pad with Buddy in the gym. And he's working well. He's gelled really well with Buddy. Tactically, it looks good, the stuff he's doing. And he's fully motivated and fully confident also. It's a fight I'm massively confident for. And it sounds silly, obviously, and you're going to get people doing the usual, how can you be confident against someone who's had 19 fights, won 19 and knocked them all out? But there's a lot that I see personally. There's a lot that Callum will see and be very confident about. And there's a lot that the public might see and people in boxing will probably definitely see. That is a vulnerability with Beterbiev, and he's 39 years old. He's not getting any younger. Obviously, he's had a lot of hard fights. He's been through the mill in the amateurs also. The amateurs, he had some career in the amateurs and so many hard fights against top names in the amateurs, as well as being in the pros and doing what he's done in the pros. So for me, boxing's all about timing. And I always use this example of, and there's been many of them, by the way, Ricky Hatton, Joe Calzaghe, Ricky Hatton, sorry, Costa Tszyu. I was going to say Joe Calzaghe and maybe Jeff Lacey. Was a little bit too soon for Jeff Lacey, but the timing was perfect for Ricky Hatton and Costa Tszyu. And if Jeff Lacey may have fought Joe Calzaghe a year or two later, who knows, might have been different. If Ricky Hatton had fought Costa Tszyu a couple of years earlier, I think it would have probably been different. Boxing's about timing, and this is the perfect time for Callum. If it won't get no better than this, in my opinion. He's 39 years of age. You find him in his backyard, but it's for 3 of the belts, and it's a unbelievable opportunity for Callum. It's a fantastic opportunity to become a 2-weight world champion and to win the other belts that he hasn't had in boxing.
A couple of the topics to touch on before we wrap this up, Paul. Joshua-Whyte 2 announced the other day. Just your thoughts on that fight, please.
A bit closer than the first fight, if not the same, but that was because Joshua was on the rise at the time. He wasn't in his peak. Obviously, Dillian Whyte had a massive chance. Dillian Whyte's game is out, and if his camp goes well, then it depends on sort of what Joshua's had taken out of him and what desire he's got left. A couple of the interviews I've seen with AJ where he's like, what are you getting out of it? And to be honest with you, I was delighted when I heard him say it. What are you getting out of this? I'm getting money. I'm getting paid well. At the end of the day, it's a job. It's a sport. We're seeing it everywhere at the moment with football players moving to other countries for financial gain. But in 3 years, they're going to be retired. They're going to be in the mid-30s or late 30s and not be able to earn a penny again for the rest of their lives. So that money's going to last them. At the end of the day, they're sportsmen, and that's what they do. If you get offered the fight or you get offered the job, let's say for £10 million and the same job somewhere else for £100,000, you're going to go and take the 10 million. Obviously, if someone offered you a year's salary to do one 1 week of work, you're going to bite the hand off for it and do it, because that's what we all go to work for. So it's how much desire he has left, and whether, you know, whether he's really up for it, whether he gels with his new trainer, whether he gets his style right. Whyte is very much what you see, what you get. He's aggressive. He can box also. He's tough as anything. But it's a close fight, and it's one I'll be watching as well. I'll be tuning in and watching it.
I'm interested to get your thoughts on the comments from Anthony Joshua towards Robert McCracken and Robert Garcia. Paul, have you seen what AJ's had to say about his former trainers?
I saw a couple of quotes on Twitter, yeah, where he was giving Carl Froch a bit. Paul Carl got a bit, didn't he? And McCracken, yeah. But listen, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I like Rob McCracken, I like Anthony Joshua. But no one sees what goes on behind closed doors with boxers and the trainers. And there's a lot of boxers in the country and in the world, and there's a lot of trainers in the world who've got probably the wrong reputation, and it's not what they like behind closed doors. You know, I see it very close to home, how things are, where certain trainers will get a lot of praise and things for things that they do, when ultimately it's actually not like that. And if you're inside there, you'll get to see it. You know, so I can't really comment. As I say, I can only deal with what I know and what I see. Every time I've met Rob McCracken's been nothing but respectful to me, and vice versa. Good fighter in his day, very good trainer, in my opinion. And Joshua, brilliant at what he's done. He's had some career already so far, and he's trying to have one last go at it. But I thought he looked very good when he was with McCracken personally. So I know everything changes. I know relationships come to the end. It's a shame to see, because the two, in my opinion, two decent people who are well respected in the game, but that's between them, isn't it?
Paul, welterweight supremacy on the line next weekend. Spence-Crawford, who will become the new king of the 147 division?
Crawford, my opinion. Me and my son are going Crawford. A couple of others who I spoke to, adamant it's Spence. Brilliant fight, and I'll be certainly watching that. As I said, I'd love to have gone to it, to be honest with you. It's one of the super fights that we need, that boxing needs, in my opinion. And it's along the lines of the old Leonard Hearns type fights, you know, champion versus champion, unbeaten, and both quality fighters. And yeah, it's nice to say, but I'm buzzing about boxing at the moment, and hopefully it continues and we keep seeing these fights, and maybe, you know, if the fighters are paid the right amounts of money, if the politics don't get in the way, then there's no reason why these fights can't happen. But I'm sick of the comparison with UFC. Boxing would be the easiest sport in the world if there was one promoter and one man controlling everything at the end of the day, or one governing body. It's so much more difficult in boxing to make these fights, but when they happen, they're huge, and the massive events, and the fighters get paid well for it, and hopefully the fans, we get to see the show that we want and the fight that we want.
Right, Paul, I know you're a busy man and you've got a few things to take care of this evening. Your time before you can settle down ahead of the show tomorrow. So thank you for speaking to me. Safe travels back to the UK when that happens as well. And yeah, enjoy tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, mate. See you soon. Thank you.